Why homelessness is rising in America. Right now, as you're watching this video, over 650,000 people in America don't have a home to sleep in tonight. That's more than the entire population of Las Vegas, living on streets, in cars, or under bridges. But here's what's really shocking. 20 years ago, this number was going down. So what changed? Why is one of the world's richest countries facing its worst homelessness crisis in history? I'm going to walk you through the real reasons behind America's homelessness explosion. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll understand what most people completely miss about this growing crisis. Let's dive in. Let's start with something that might surprise you. In January 2024, the US government conducted its annual count and found 653,104 homeless people across America. Now, compare this to 2015, when the number was around 564,000. That's an increase of nearly 90,000 people in less than a decade. But wait, it gets even more interesting. Cities like New York saw a 40% jump in just 3 years. Los Angeles now has over 75,000 homeless individuals. That's like filling an entire football stadium and then adding another 10,000 people. Here's a question for you. Do you think homelessness only affects people who don't work? Hold that thought, because the answer will shock you. The biggest driver of homelessness isn't what most people think. It's not primarily about mental health or addiction, though those play a role. The real villain? Housing costs. Let me paint you a picture. In 2000, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in America was around $600. Today, it's over $1,700. That's nearly a 200% increase. But here's the kicker. Wages haven't kept up. The federal minimum wage has been stuck at $7.25 per hour since 2009. Do the math. Someone working full-time at minimum wage earns about $1,256 per month before taxes. Now, try paying $1,700 in rent with that income. According to the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, there isn't a single county in America where a full-time minimum wage worker can afford a two-bedroom apartment, not one. But it's not just minimum wage workers struggling. Even people earning $50,000 a year are getting priced out in cities like San Francisco, where the median rent is over $3,000. This creates what experts call housing precarity. You're always one emergency away from losing your home. And speaking of emergencies, here's something most people don't realize. 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing money or selling something. Think about that. A car repair, a medical bill, a broken phone. Any of these can trigger a chain reaction. Let me tell you what typically happens. Someone gets sick and misses work. They can't pay rent on time. They get an eviction notice. Once evicted, finding a new apartment becomes nearly impossible because most landlords check rental history. Many employers also check addresses, making it harder to get jobs. Without income, they end up in their car. Then the car gets towed because they can't afford parking tickets. And suddenly, they're on the street. This isn't a story. This is the actual pathway for thousands of Americans every month. The scary part, many of these people had jobs when they became homeless. In fact, 40 to 60% of homeless individuals in some cities are employed. They're called the working homeless. Can you imagine working 40 hours a week and still sleeping in your car? Now let's talk about what made everything worse recently. 3 major factors collided. First, COVID-19. During the pandemic, eviction moratoriums protected millions. But when those protections ended in 2021, evictions surged. In 2023 alone, over 1.1 million eviction cases were filed, the highest number in years. Second, inflation. Between 2021 and 2023, inflation hit 40-year highs. Groceries became 25% more expensive. Gas prices doubled in some areas. But for people already living paycheck to paycheck, even small price increases meant choosing between food and rent. Third, the housing shortage. America needs about 7 million more affordable housing units than currently exist. New construction can't keep up with demand. Why? Building costs increased by 30% since 2020. High interest rates made developers reluctant to build affordable units because they're less profitable. These 3 factors created a perfect storm. Here's something that might change how you think about this issue. Homelessness doesn't look like what you see in movies. Yes, there are people living in tents on sidewalks, but there's also the family of 4 living in their minivan parked outside a Walmart. The college student couch surfing because she can't afford both tuition and rent. The elderly veteran living in a shelter after his disability benefits couldn't cover rising costs. According to recent data, families with children are the fastest growing segment of the homeless population. In New York City alone, over 22,000 children sleep in homeless shelters every night. That's more kids than the total enrollment of many school districts. And here's another surprising fact. Over 33,000 veterans are homeless in America. These are people who served their country, and now they're sleeping on the streets of the country they protected. So why can't we just build more homes and solve this? Well, it's complicated. Many communities have strict zoning laws that prevent affordable housing construction. They only allow single-family homes, which are expensive and house fewer people per acre. This is called exclusionary zoning, and it exists in about 75% of residential land in major American cities. Then there's the NIMBY phenomenon, not in my backyard. Even when affordable housing gets approved, local residents often protest, worried about property values. These legal battles delay projects for years. Meanwhile, real estate investors and corporations have bought up millions of homes, turning them into rentals or leaving them vacant as investments. In some cities, up to 15% of homes sit empty while people sleep outside. The system, frankly, isn't designed to solve homelessness quickly. It's designed to protect property values and existing homeowners. So, here's what we've learned. America's homelessness crisis isn't about personal failure or laziness. It's about a broken housing system where costs have exploded while wages stagnated. It's about how one medical emergency can destroy financial stability. And it's about policy choices that prioritize property values over human lives. The hardest truth, this crisis is solvable. Studies show that simply providing housing, called Housing First programs, is not only more humane, but actually cheaper than the current system of shelters and emergency services. Utah reduced chronic homelessness by 91% using this approach. But solutions require political will, funding, and communities willing to say yes to affordable housing. The question isn't whether we can solve homelessness in America, it's whether we will. Thanks for watching. If this video opened your eyes to something new, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into topics that matter.